Welcome. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to focus on a couple tips to help you with your arm balance of Bakasana or crane pose. And to get into that, it can be a little tricky. You might need a little bit more hip mobility, so you're going to work towards that. And a lot of people say, oh, I'm not strong enough. Well, it's a balance. So you don't have to be strong. You just have to be able to engage your core, trust yourself, and find that balance on your hands. So finding that front backward balance. And so I'm going to be using blocks. So hopefully have some blocks. If you don't have blocks, get some books. They're a good teaching tool. They're going to help you. So I'm going to give you some different progressions along your way into your Bakasana. And then even once you maybe can do Bakasana, I'll get a couple extra strength training drills for you to help you with other poses as you go along. So with that being said, we are going to start in Malasana. So come to that low yogi squat. And so dropping those hips, those heels might be up to begin, and then slowly just start working them down, lifting up through the lower belly, dropping those hips, and then starting to press those elbows into your shins, lifting here. And again, if your heels don't really press down, roll up a blanket or a bolster. So if I were to have like a little blanket here, keep holding that pose. I'm going to take my feet and I'm going to place my heels on that so I can at least drop my heels down so I know what it feels like to sit back in my heels in this pose. And then just kind of rock a little bit from side to side. And so for those people who have harder, your knees are a little bit more stiff and maybe you can't get this low right now, use that block. But as you sit up on the block, whatever level it's on, make sure again your feet are flat and then you can lean forward and start to press out into those legs, right? Lifting the chest so you're getting that stretch on the inner thighs. Okay. And then from here, exhale fully. Good, and then wherever you are, just plant the hands forward and then just kind of shift the weight forward. So as you notice, as I shift that weight forward, I'm keeping my arms and knees in contact. So I'm just going to shift the weight forward and back. Shift the weight forward and back. So I'm looking forward to the top of my mat and back. Good. And then so what the contact you want for this first variation is you want to have this inside elbow, or right, this part inside elbow, or even your elbow is going to go on the inside of your knee here. So right here into that knee, or if you can, you're going to take that elbow and place it right into the knee crease. So this part where your crease meets your calf and your thigh, right there at your knee. So pressing into that. So that's going to be your first variation. So you're going to try and do that. So come back to that low squat. Press those elbows right into those knee creases. As you do, you're going to press your elbows out, but you're going to squeeze your knees in. So I'm pressing those hands, or hip or hands distance is shoulder width apart. And you're going to press out, squeeze in. So you're going to find that little cat pose as you squeeze in. And then again, shift forward, point to toe. Shift forward, find cat pose, pull up through the lower belly, point to second toe. Good, maybe you point that first toe again, maybe the second toe, squeeze, and you find a little hover time. Even if it's for a second, know that you can do it. Now if you're worried about falling forward, you have options. Your blanket can now come down. If you have pillows can come down. So right, so as I'm forward, and if I fall, I fall right into that pillow. So I'm not going to be worried. So give yourself some padding. It's going to take away the fear a little bit, right? So then you've practiced with that a little bit. Maybe you're still not able to really lift those hips so much. You have your blocks. So I like to place my blocks together, giving myself a firm foundation. And I'm going to step right up onto those blocks. And then I'm going to squat down again. Right? I'm squatting down. I'm going to press those elbows into my knees. I'm going to press my hands down, shoulder width apart. I'm going to squeeze in, find my cat pose, pull in through the lower belly, shift, and then point your toes back. And then bring them back down. So just finding that part of that balance. A lot of times when people do this, they're not leaning far forward enough and they're just like this. You got to really lean forward, lift and round the back, think cat pose, point through the toes. Good. Take a moment, come down to your knees, and let's give those wrists a little break, right? So, rolling the wrists, maybe flicking them, and then shaking them out. Pressing those hands on the floor and kind of rock from side to side. And then circles. Good. Next step. Maybe you stay with that. You watch for a little bit, see the next progression, see if you're ready for that. So the next progression is actually to get those knees on the backs of your arms. So this is where it takes a little bit more flexibility in the hips, more mobility in the hips to get those legs on top of the backs of your arms. So when you're doing this, again, you have your blocks as you're starting out. It's just gonna lift your hips up higher to give you that ease and accessibility for your arms. Now when you have your arms, you wanna have your arms nice and strong so that you're not wobbly through the shoulder. So you're gonna drop in through those arms, press down, think chaturanga arms, whatever your chaturanga arms, nice and strong arms, right? So I'm gonna do that variation from the blocks to begin. So now my hands are gonna come down. I'm gonna lift my hips so the backs of my arms snuggle right into those knees. And then I'm gonna shift the weight forward. Good, so think I have chaturanga arms, press down, look forward, round the back, and then point the toe. Point the other toe. Good, maybe both toes. Maybe squeeze heel to bums, there you are. And then back down, release it down. So maybe you stick with the blocks for a while. Maybe this is your variation, this is your version. You're working with the blocks for a little bit. No problem, you can always do that in a class too. Slide a block underneath, have it there, your little block of help. Once you've gotten that flexibility, maybe you're a little bit ready to try from without the blocks with your hands and feet on the floor. So same idea, you're gonna set yourself up, coming to that low squat, place the hands underneath your shoulders, and then lift those hips. Shift the weight forward to snuggle those knees right into the backs of your arms. Look forward. Notice I'm shifting forward. I'm coming up onto those tiptoes. Press down, pull in, cat pose, and then hover the feet. One foot can stay down, one foot can go up, maybe both. Look forward, and then coming back down. Again, as you progress, you can always have those pillows out in front of you as well, in case you're fear of falling. You have something soft to fall into, no problem. Finding that little tipping point really helps. Because if you don't go far enough, if you keep staying here and you're just like here and you're not really going far enough, you're not gonna get to find that balance. You have to find that balance. You kind of have to go past that tipping point for a moment, and then your body will recognize that to be able to move on to find the balance. So trust yourself. The floor is always there to catch you, as I say. I love that. But the pillow can be there to catch you too. So it's less hard, right? So if you're ready, maybe you go a little bit further and you're gonna really get those arms way back up into your armpits. That's the next phase. And then instead of arms bent, let arms go straight, right? So some of you might be working here and you're holding, trying to work those arms towards straight then, right? That's the next phase. And when you do that, you really have to use Mula Bandha, really lift up through that lower belly, really find some cat pose and press into the ground as you squeeze those knees into your armpits. So that's the whole mechanics of that. So I'll show you here. Try with me if you'd like. Again, plant the hands, lift the hips, snuggle those knees way up into the armpits. Press down, shift the weight forward. Good, find your Bakasana first. And then slowly press down, find cat pose, start to straighten those arms, heels to bum, look forward, and then slowly bring it down. So working towards that. It took me probably a year and a half before I finally understood pressing into my hands, rounding into the upper back, and sending my weight forward as I lift my heels to find that straight arm variation. So play with it, have fun. Worst thing you do, you fall over. You're only about 6 to 8 inches from the floor. So give it a try. Those people, maybe you've worked towards straight arms, maybe you want a little bit more of a challenge. There's always challenges, right? Now you can do a little bit strengthener for that lower belly, working your way toward handstands or handstand presses. So the next option is, again, pressing down, knees to the backs of the arms, shift the weight forward. Good, find your Bakasana, straighten those arms, and then toe taps to the backs of your wrists. Keeping your balance, breathing. Good, maybe both. Good, and then placing it down. So, many options, many variations. Watch whatever segment you're at, try it, watch it again, try it, and just play. It's something you don't really have to be super warmed up for because it is a balance, but remember your wrists might be a little bit stiff at the beginning, so work with those, do some warm-ups, do how many ever wrist warm-ups that you need to. Follow my warm-up before a sequence or exercise tip, and then do this for a couple of rounds. As you continue with this practice, you may notice little red spots or little bruises on the backs of your arms. Completely normal. I call those badges of honor because you've been working on something that not most normal people will do, right? It's only those people in the yoga world that are like, yes, I can put my knees on my arms and balance as I breathe, right? It's a great thing to try. It's fun. Remember, it's a yoga practice, yoga play. So hopefully you have fun. Leave me a comment on how your practice is coming. Thanks for joining me. Drink lots of water, eat your veggies, and wear some sunblock tomorrow. We'll see you next time. Namaste.